Hello people. Just walk and talk as usual. Just wanted to talk today about, I watched the video this morning. Somebody Hood, he was a Qantas airline pilot in Australia, and as you've probably heard, there's a lot of them losing their jobs if they're refusing the jab. So he said that in this video that he'd had 200,000 police officers contacting him, and there's also a list of doctors, nurses, firefighters, a lot of professionals, a lot of intelligent people who have the right to say no and are exercising that right at the risk of losing their careers, really, things that they've trained for a lot of years for. So they're all coming out in force and standing up, and I think their movement is called is it Take a Stand or Make a Stand? And yeah, so they're all, I think Australia's got really bad, haven't they? They've been in lockdown for so long apparently, and the police have been really violent with them. But a lot of them, like I say, they're turning around now and they don't want to be part of it. So it's when it starts to get really bad here, I think that that's maybe the case. People will then stop worrying so much about losing their jobs and stand for what they believe in, stand for what they know is right, go with their intuition and make a stand. Yeah, does it keep the line? But we do, if you think about it, all these things that are breaking down, all these structures that we're used to, that they've conditioned us to, and fortunately for those people who refuse to watch the TV, escape the brainwashing, we went to a festival at the weekend, and he said on the information about having a COVID pass and exemption pass, and apparently from 11:30 on Friday you could apply for an exemption pass, which you send your details and they send you out the forms, and then I think you get in touch, you send it on to your GP and they decide whether you're exempt on medical or mental health grounds apparently. And apparently venues can't refuse you without an exemption pass until December. Some point in December you will have to show some pass or another to get into certain venues, I believe. However, I don't think anybody was getting turned away on Saturday. I certainly didn't see anybody getting turned away. A few people had their phones out ready to show them passes, and there was groups of people we spoke to, young people, who some of them had and some of them hadn't, but couldn't understand what people were opposed to. You know, at least I can go on holiday. Yeah, well, we'll see when there's no pilots left to fly the planes because they refuse to abide by the tyranny. So yeah, it's this world that we know is very much changed, and it's not going back to what we knew. So it's time we started to gather the people, gather the light workers, gather the professionals that have got the sense to walk away from the jobs for the sake of their health and the sake of their freedoms and their rights, and make a stand, because we need these people. And there's infinite possibilities, isn't there, for, and that's a phrase I'm hearing a lot, even in the films I'm watching, the infinite possibilities. And I think the infinite possibilities is how we rebuild the structures. Who is in charge? I mean, blowjob's only making things worse for himself, isn't he, with all this shit that's going on now. This eco, another thing, apparently they want you to use this new gas, is it methane? Apparently it's there's no smell to it, and it's more deadly than the average gas that we've been using. But if they choose your area to sample the change of gas, let's say, and you refuse, they have the right to come into your property and cut your gas off, apparently. So let's wait and see that one. And all this fuel shortage, a very good friend of mine made a good point yesterday. They want to get rid of the old fuel, don't they, because they're bringing that new fuel in. So I think that they'll want to get rid of the stock, and it's got a shelf life, so they'll need to get rid of it. And I suppose a lot of people have to get rid of the cars as well, won't they, because they won't take that fuel. And apparently Bojo said by 2030 there will be no petrol cars on the road. Yet China are opening coal mine after coal mine. So really, what are we doing? And this culture of morons, for want of a better word, they're not doing us any favours at all. They're just abiding by whatever they're told. You know, get a job so you can keep your job, get a job so you can go on holiday. Oh, actually, no, we're going to put the taxes right up, and actually, no, there's going to be a house market crash, and actually, no, we're going to cut your fuel off. So all you people out there that's taken the mark of the beast so that you can buy and sell, that included your soul, I'm afraid. Because when you believe in them, when you lose your faith, when you are so out of tune with your body, your spirit, your soul, your intuition, the body might as well go, because the mind's already gone. You know, the faith's already gone. You're an empty shell, really. However, saying that, I feel really bad for those of you that have fallen for it. Those of you, you know, my brothers, you know, are they going to get really ill in the next couple of years? There's already talk of all the cancers being caused, and, you know, it's a time to make a stand, as the guy in Australia was saying. Everyone's coming out. You don't show it on the mainstream media, I know, but it had to get really, really shitty before they did make a stand. But, you know, if that's what it takes, that's what it takes. I don't really care. It's took a long time getting here, but they've taken a long time getting us here. And I just hope that I was watching David Clue's speech the other day. He was a bit pissed off with one of the apparent freedom fighters. I think I won't give his name. If you watch David Clue's video, he's basically saying, if you're in this movement for the right reasons, you don't get jabbed, you don't get the test, and you don't, what was the other thing he said? Oh, you don't have a TV licence to be part of his movement, which, you know, I tick all the boxes actually, and he's quite right to say so. I think it's time to cut the losses, cut the dead weight, and bring forward a movement that's going to service the people who are being ostracised for not bowing down to the tyranny. And so I think, and I hope, that there'll be enough of us to start new communities and to see to each other's needs and to provide for each other in the way that we need to, because if you try to do this on your own, you're not going to make it, especially if you're in the minority. And it would seem that when you look around and the people that you talk to, it is seeming that way. However, I think the statistics came out, I was looking at something with, I can't remember who it was by now, I got a video sent to me. stating how the percentages of people that had taken it in hospital really poorly is a very high number. It's a lot higher than anybody that's not. So now the information's coming out that you're more prone to be ill if you have had it. So please, anybody that's thinking about it, just do some research, because you really need to look into what you're doing. Kids I was talking to at Errington Park, you know, oh, it's been tested, it's not a trial. They have no idea what they're consenting to. They try to give it to our kids. And I was so pleased about that protest at Dr. Hillary's, because I hate him. Well, I don't hate him, I just hate what he stands for, because he's just a slime ball. He's not worth an energy. But yeah, I'm glad they took that. They were going to hand him some paperwork for his role. Marley! Marley! Sorry! Peace, love and light. I'll have to go. Bye-bye.